Thank you, Your Excellencies and honored guests and ladies and gentlemen. This morning I would like to describe a ray of hope. We've just heard from the panel this morning how dire the situation is for refugees, and they intimated as well the situation for those who are internally displaced is all the more challenging, and in some cases horrific. So 35 years ago, full of good intentions, plenty of research, commitment to make a difference, I got on a flight and I flew into Beirut. And on that flight, straight out of university, I thought I knew what I was doing when I got on the flight. About halfway across the journey, I started to have misgivings. And then I arrived in Beirut, and it only took a matter of weeks, maybe a couple of months, before all those good intentions evaporated. The great ideas that I'd received such high marks on those papers, I put the papers in the circular file, and I started to face the reality of the situation of living in a civil war. The war had started in 75, I arrived in 81. And the first shock to the system was a car bomb. It was only a few blocks away, but I got the message. This is out of control. Then a shell dropped into my neighborhood in an alley. I was trying to help some friends get their children out of their fifth-floor apartment into the basement. Everybody around me took shrapnel. Nothing touched me. And my conclusion was not, I lead a charmed life. My conclusion was, I'm going to die! And I used up a year's worth of adrenaline, dived into a hallway to think that over. But it really came on point for me in a context of sectarian violence, summer of 82. I got a knock on the door. This was during a period of all summer long saturation bombing in that city. And it wasn't 9/11 one day, it was every day, with the buildings coming down around me. And let me tell you, I learned what fear means. I used to crawl across my living room floor in order to peer out the window to avoid the snipers. I learned fear. I learned despair. And I got this knock on the door. And a fighter came to the door with his Kalashnikov. And I knew you either open the door or he's going to blow it open. So I opened the door. And I have the same face, minus the white mustache. And he said, "Where are you from?" Well, you don't lie at this moment. I said, "I'm from America." He says, "We're fighting the power of your nation 2 kilometers from here." But then he just asked me for some fruit, which I gave to him. And he made a decision. He made a decision to respect me and to forgive me. And it didn't look like something emotional, but he made the decision to love me. And instead of putting a bullet in my head, he let me live. And that changed me. About the same time, during that Civil War, a group of students, just like me, local students who were volunteering with the Red Cross, driving ambulances and saving people's lives, they saw the ethnic cleansing ripping their country apart. And they realized kids are never going to see anybody other than the people just like them from here on out. And they decided it can't be that way. They had a dream, and they lived these three values: respect, forgiveness, love. And so they hosted in 1985 the first summer camp with individuals, children from every single ethnic, religious sect in that country in a single camp in the middle of the Civil War, with camp counselors from across all of the different stripes. How could that be possible? 117 children sent by their parents into a conflict in the middle of a war, called a summer camp. What could do that? Only trust. And trust on the basis of what? On the basis of shared values and a dream. There's a different way forward. They called their little summer camp the Joy of Giving. And that camp has been going now every year since 1985 until now. It hasn't gone out of style. And summer after summer, these kids have become friends. And now, 30 years later, there are friends across every ethnic group inside Lebanon. They know each other's names. When the bombs go off, they know who it happened to. They phone up their families. These kids grew up over that period, and then they became students themselves in university. And when the bombs go off now in Lebanon, there are 3 first responders. There's the Red Cross that come in to deal with the wounded and cart away the dead. And there's the police that come in to do the investigation. And there's Joy of Giving volunteers. These volunteers from every stripe show up in every community in Lebanon and rebuild the houses for the families who had their houses bombed. They have no bank account, no bank balance. There's no organization. They don't have a big office. No paid staff. That's right. No paid staff. It's all volunteer. Because they share a dream. And there's the dream: to gather the entire family of Lebanon together as a treasure of humanity by serving with the other and for the other. Here's a little clip that shows what it looks like in action.
كنت بالبيت ملقحة.
كانوا جايين من المدرسة.
مرقت هيك برمتين حول البيت ما لقيت مطرح.
Massive blast has erupted through the center of the Lebanese capital, Beirut, killing at least 4 people and injuring dozens.
سقط العميد وسام الحسن شهيدا مع مرافقه بانفجار سيارة.
Divided, Lebanese politicians and public figures spoke out to condemn the violence and trade political blame, yet no one spoke on behalf of the victims.
بيتي ما بقي منه شيء. الدولة لازم تعطينا حقنا، تأملنا مسكن.
While everyone was talking, a non-partisan NGO, Offre began working with its own volunteers to rebuild the neighborhood, silently and without any media coverage. In the absence of governmental assistance for these victims, Offre approached us to help them rally more public support. We visited the blast site and were inspired by seeing volunteers of all ages, religious and social backgrounds working together without expecting anything in return. Our idea grew from the insight that volunteers seek no recognition. We decided to amplify this message of solidarity to engage the entire nation and encourage more volunteers to help.
لما مجهول دمر حي بكامله 1400 مواطن اشتغلوا من كل قلبهم وبلا مقابل ورجعوا له الحياة. عطاؤهم بغنى عن التعريف. ما تشكرون، شاركوا فرح العطاء.
We asked people to change their profile pictures on Facebook to show their support and spread awareness. More than 2,000 people joined Offre as volunteers and participated in rebuilding 80 homes before Christmas.
أول مرة بنحس بشعور وطني جامع.
Each new volunteer became a symbol of hope transforming tragedy. As more people participated, the campaign attracted national media attention. We asked volunteers to appear anonymously on a talk show hiding their faces from the camera. The campaign's message also attracted the most watched Lebanese socio-political program.
ولنكرم جمعية فرح العطاء التي زرعت في الناس الأمل وأعادت إليهم البسمة والحياة. اللي حبيته كتير بالحملة كمان غير شاركهم فرح العطاء إنه ما تشكرهم شاركهم.
Usually reserved for politicians, the show instead focused on telling the stories of volunteers and victims and how they came together for one cause.
إذا بدي أعرف حدا بغير بلد عن لبنان، قل لهم لبنان هو فرح العطاء. كتير مهم نقدر نتعلم كشباب وطن نشتغل مع بعضنا تنعمل شيء حلو.
هالمسؤولين الكبار يتعلموا فرح العطاء من فرح العطاء.
The Lebanese president surprised the group with an open letter live on air.
قرر فخامة الرئيس منح جمعية فرح العطاء وسام الأرز الوطني من رتبة فارس.
The campaign generated more than $1 million in earned media, engaging 45% of the Lebanese population. Most importantly, our campaign was able to unite people around a single goal, changing the conversation from political turmoil to national solidarity.
The year following that, they went beyond their own telephone network, their mobile phone network, and networked to a national coalition and mobilized 172,000 volunteer workdays in 2013. This is not something, a little piece of light in the corner. Light in the middle of darkness is brilliant. It spanned civil society, government, commerce, and then each year since, all of the religious leaders of the country, from every stripe, every year stand together in public and pray a common prayer for peace. It's possible. What makes this possible? Janice? It's not just possible in Lebanon where you say, well, the war is over. That was a 20-year war, but you can do it in a context after the war is over. The idea has caught on in Baghdad. The idea has caught on in Erbil in Kurdistan. Iraqi volunteers saying, we can do this now. They're getting calls from Syria, from Egypt, from France, from America. How do you do this? What's the essence behind it? Is it deep pockets? Is it organization? Is it infrastructure? All these things that we think are so necessary, those are certainly helpful, but they don't have any of those. What do they have? Insiders with a real dream who live the values and a little bit of support. I present to you, if we can focus on the insiders and take their dreams seriously and learn how to align our values with the values of people on the inside that want to turn the situation around, there is a way forward. So I present to you, there is hope. The issues that we just heard about on the panel are massive. What encourages me is not the resources sitting in this room. What encourages me are the people of good faith, the commitment to live the values together, and let's take seriously the dreams of the people on the inside. What kind of support do they really need? Listen to them and take their dreams seriously. Ian Walkden, our director for Europe, my wife Janice, who is engaged with Program Worldwide, we're here to listen and learn and participate with you all. I really believe there is hope in the face of the conflicts in front of us. These little lights of hope can change the game from the inside. Thank you.